Hello and welcome back to the Weekly Shonen Jump Review. Each week I read Weekly Shonen Jump and give my review of the chapters. As a reminder of my format, I will provide a brief summary of the series that I read, followed by some quick thoughts about the chapter itself, and then at the end of the video I will give an overall ranking as if I am turning in the surveys. I don't cover all of the series of Weekly Shonen Jump in this review, as I've already dropped some of the series, but for those that I do cover, there will be some spoilers, so you have been warned. This week, the kids are still marching along the line that Gonko drew for them, but unfortunately now they have no boat or sea clouds at the end of the line, which means that they will plummet to their deaths instead. This causes the Thorn Celestial Dragon a crazy amount of joy because he's just the biggest piece of crap that you will ever see. They are still covered in thorns, and as they are about to go over the edge, mothers and brothers and parental guardians and just general figures of care for people hug all of the kids, even as they are covered in spikes so that they won't be alone as they go over the edge. But just in the nick of time, Luffy and Loki are here in Sun God and massive ice thunder dragon form to save the day. Loki is truly massive, showing off the form that we have never seen before but has been hinted at. I'm anticipating very bad times for the Celestial Dragons coming up. I did really feel bad that all of the kids were all thinking that they had done something wrong, and that was the reason that this was happening, and that they deserved what was happening to them. No, kids, sometimes evil people do evil things, and it's not your fault. But it's time for the evil to stop. Awesome chapter and awesome reveal for Loki. There's a lot about this chapter that I really liked. It was a good one. We have a mini time skip after the battle. The Shinichi has declared war on something or somebody. It's just, like, I declare war. Michael Scott vibes for sure. But the ninja group around Samura are in hiding with his daughter Iori, who does indeed have the Tobimune, like I thought. Chihiro appears and drops a load of lore that he's been thinking about over the past 4 days, including that he thinks it's possible that Samura may be able to be saved because we want this arc to entirely be like the Pain arc in Naruto. No deaths, baby! Chihiro also decides that it's now time to finally follow in his father's footsteps and become a swordsmith, remaking the Enten with the pieces of it that he found on the battlefield. Well, not he, the ninjas got on the battlefield, as well as having plans to remake Cloud Gauger, which was destroyed as well. Then at the very end there, we get a title card with an announcement that part 1 of Kagurabachi is now ended. Wow, now that was a surprise. I almost gasped when that panel came up as I was reading it. This has so many implications that it's really hard to fathom what it could potentially mean. Is this signaling that there will now be a time skip? An actual time skip this time of moving forward? Or does this also mean that the Shinichi isn't the final villain of the story and that there will be much more to come in the story? Because part 1 doesn't just imply part 2, it implies that there's, more that's going to be coming. It was a very interesting reveal, to say the least. But a good chapter, if perhaps slightly heavy on the exposition. Oh, but, it also got a good laugh, too. Guys, I can already tell you that this week's rankings are just gonna be so hard because they're all just so good so far. Okay, so Akane listens to the rest of Rakuro's performance, and he takes a very interesting style with it, where he turns it into almost like a rock performance or like a musical performance. By using the mastery of the phrasing of the words to change how the audience feels, from a tense atmosphere to a very high energy concert style. This leads Akane to have her brain blast of what she needs to do to hone her technique to the max, and she feels that it will be more true to her in her own style. At the same time, we see a glimpse of the crowd after Kaisei's study session, where he performed the God of Death in front of an audience, and it seems to have made a huge impact on the crowd, so we will have to see what he has learned and how it will be depicted going forward. This chapter ends with a classic standoff hype train to set up this showdown to come. I loved the different styles and changes in the art as Rokuro changed up his style, and I like how we are building the tension and drama for this eventual showdown. Again, this manga is not about fighting. There is no actual fighting at all, but the way that they are able to build up this showdown to like WWE levels of showmanship and hype, it's so good. I love it so much, and I wish that this manga was more popular. I mean, I know that it's not going to have the popularity of like One Piece or even like Kagurabachi, because that's just like a more, mainstream type popularity kind of deal. But and obviously it's popular enough. I mean, it's a very well established series in the magazine. There's never any sort of implications that there could be anything related to that this thing could be canceled, because I know that there's a lot of people that recognize how good this series is. But I just it's so good, guys. Like if you're not reading Akane-Banashi, you have to read it. It's such a fun read week to week. Ichi is back in the game, and he is facing off with the octopus using the Inazari to full effect, but that is just enough to keep things at a standstill when the Jikashirone tells Ichi to use the magic that he least wants to use to win. This leads him to using Back Jam, aka the worst magic he has claimed so far from the last arc, but it allows him to win by weaponizing all of the bad memories of the octopus into a blast to take him out. Then the chapter ends with Chrono Weaver looking on with a smile, but it looks like he is fading away because of the power that he had to expend during the fight. Very great chapter, but I have to keep reminding myself that I don't believe that we are close to done here. Even with that octopus clone getting killed, this fight isn't over yet. Plus, I don't think Chrono Weaver has much time left. Looking back on it, I think I was a little bit too harsh on Sakamoto Days last week. I gave it a very low ranking, and I reread the chapter as I was getting some of the things that I needed for my video, and I looked at the art, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, I think I was just reading it, and I just got like a bad impression. I think also because the series that I'm reading around it, they are drawn impeccably. They're everything about the art in those series is done so well that when I saw Sakamoto Days with those two things around it, it just kind of felt like it felt rougher than it actually was. That being said, it was rough. This one is still a little rough. But anyway, I wanted to put that out there. Nagumo is passed out in an alleyway, and some goons are killed before they can do any shenanigans. We switch over to Shishiba's fight with the electricity guy, and the electricity guy seems to be running out of energy when Osaragi jumps in to help out, since she doesn't have to fight Torres anymore. Electricity guy charges himself back up at a pachinko parlor that he was blasted into, and now it's going to be a 2-on-1 fight from here on. Some nice panels in action, and obviously I love Shishiba and Osaragi together. That's always going to be big plus for me. As I said, I was a little too harsh last week. I do see the roughness in the art, but it is not as bad as I was giving it demerits for last week. Hopefully this won't be a continuing trend, because if it is, then it's not going to be good. Even with the rough art, though, Sakamoto Days is still fun to read. Momochi joins up with Miharu and Nemu, and Ban is just dead drunk on the floor. Typical alcoholic behavior, but it does lead them to come up with a plan for the warlock in the casino who can't drink. They decide to switch out the contents of her drink with the drink that knocked Ban out to get to her bone to get, another notch on the belt. Then we go to Kanchi, who is talking to Dory's human manager. Looks like she's not a warlock, as I thought last week, but she is under Dory's control. He is a warlock now, and it looks like he attacked her at some point because she has this big scar over her eye. She's about to give Kanchi her part of the bone when Dory appears and attacks her again. causing Kanji to get really mad, and he's about to jump into a fight in the next chapter. I think that the stealth mission has now officially failed, guys. Let's see how long it takes for everybody else to run into their own problems because of this, but I can't see the alarm not being raised at this point. Oh my gosh, you guys, this mangaka is trying to kill me. They are trying to kill me, but in a good way. We're not with the Hina trying to kill me. Now we're trying to kill me by giving me everything I want, I swear. Part 2 of the date, this time we're focusing on Taiki and Shinatsu, and it's adorable once again. They have a load of fun, and they talk about their dreams. Taiki wants to continue playing badminton in college, and Shinatsu basically proposes to him. He proposes back, and they have a double smooch. A double smooch. Oh, it's just too good. It's just amazingly good. What are you doing to me, sensei? How can I not rate this at the top? But everything else in the magazine is so good. Oh man, good problems to have, I guess. But it's just this week, Shonen Jump's real good. We jump back to Umineko this week, and he is fighting against the girl from Squad 9, whose Kekai is producing steam. Though the steam also makes it so she can't really talk, and it was pretty funny how it was used. Umineko looks like he's on the ropes, but then he pulls out his master multitasking ability to turn the tables on the fight and lands a solid hit. I loved all the thoughts that were raging through his head because of his ability, including the one where he notes that his throat feels better because of the humidity. Another fun chapter. I had a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this series. I definitely am not overranking this series. I think it's in a really good place right now. Yuji finally starts revealing some of his face. Hey man, you better be careful with those appearances unless you're getting that NIL money. Just make sure that check's in the mail. I mean, you've been holding off your appearances. You've not been showing off that face, and you're giving us all sorts of little glimpses here. Anyway, he has a quick fight with Mahito, who gets utterly destroyed because Yuji has had many decades to level up his powers, and Mahito has just been kind of dead this whole time. So he just takes care of him in a second. Then it turns out that it was Maru this whole time, and they chat about using Mahito's power to forcibly remove cursed energy from all of the Japanese. I feel like we're back to the same conflict from before. Or at least it's kind of like a nice version of what I forget what his name is, but like the main antagonist who wasn't Sukuna in JJK original was trying to do, but like in a nicer way. I don't know, maybe not. Anyway, we have to talk about once again using cursed energy as an actual energy source because Geje is just obsessed with the limited nature of oil supplies. Like, dude, we get it. We're running out of oil. It's not a permanent energy supply, but like the sun, wind, he's like, oh, when we run out of oil, there's going to be no energy. And, we could have had cursed energy and we're just going to get rid of it. And like, what are we going to do then? Solar, wind, geothermal, water, nuclear. I mean, dude, there are many other options. We don't need oil and coal. Like, I know that's what we run on right now, and if you got rid of it tomorrow, it would be awful, but this story is taking place 80 years in the future. Are you telling me that they're just forgot about solar? They forgot about wind. They're just like, I don't know. We're going to run out of oil and it's just all over. You're basically making people human batteries, right? You know that that is the implication of this thing that you keep talking about. You want to make people human batteries. And you don't, like, I know I'm making a big deal about this, but Geje keeps making a big deal about this. It's like a central part of this whole spin-off is this idea. He floated it in the original JJK. This was like one of the things that they were like, oh, maybe this is one of the reasons why that we're doing this, or like this is one of the reasons why some of these other countries are interested in what happens in Japan is because, oh, maybe we want to use this energy. And it's like, okay, as a throwaway line, that's fine. But this has come up like a dozen times in this spin-off. And it just is like, why should we care? Why should we care? Like, I get that's a possibility, and maybe there's like the potential of, improving technology by leaps and bounds by using what the Sumerians have, but like, just, I don't know, do science fiction, do other stuff, do renewables. Those are a lot more available, and you don't have the huge externality of, hey, there's just people that can destroy a city just for fun, for funsies. And there's cursed spirits out there who don't like humans and will just kill a bunch of humans for no reason. I don't think that, Solar does that. I mean, maybe it does. Anyway, they sort of talk around this for a while and really don't land anywhere, because apparently cursed spirits will still be created even if they do get rid of cursed energy. So what are we even doing here? What is all this even for? Yeah, it's a meh chapter at the end of the day for me. I did get some satisfaction seeing Mahito get his butt handed to him on a silver platter. That was kind of nice. That was cathartic in its own way. Mimei is excited and nervous to go to the offline meetup, but Mizuo says she'll be his support. That is until she gets captured by the math teacher because she flunked her math test and needs to go to remedial lessons. This means Mimei has to go by himself, and to try to ease the nerves and tension, he introduces himself as Mizuo's disciple. However, he quickly learns that these people are all just like him and they're nerds about Monmid, so he should be fine. Mizuo also shows up at the end of the chapter, so he shouldn't have any problems going forward. Cute, standard chapter, no prompt again for obvious reasons. Tosaka is getting rocked by the cat, and things are looking bad for Kiyoshi. All of the demons are getting beat up, and Tosaka himself gets stabbed through about 5 times. He is about to die, but then Cook powers up into a phoenix and saves everybody. Then this power-up also gives Tosaka the power to be able to exorcise the cat demon and win the day even without Kiyoshi's help. Good for Tosaka that he finally gets the super power-up that he deserves. Now he can really stand on his own in a fight. Another solid chapter this week that was easy and fun to read. Oh, did you forget Kana is about fan service? Here's a huge panel of fan service, just in case you forgot. She's in the harem too. Sell more books! Buy volume 8 for the fan service! Oh boy, well, anyway, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Iamori and Himari came back from their shrine date, and some mysterious foreshadowing is dropped to start the chapter. Ooh, I wonder how it will change everything for this school term. Kana sees him first, again reminds everyone that she's in the competition, and that she has his little sister on lockdown, so that's a point in her favor. Kanai is up next. Iamori notices she cut her hair, so that's a point in her favor. Plus, Iamori reminds us all in his mind that she is in pole position still. I should do a girl power ranking. They don't move around much, but it'd be kind of funny. Himenono appears next. No, she doesn't count. That would be weird. Don't go that way. Don't go that way. Himari shows up next, but get out of the way, because Kanai is inviting Iamori for a tutoring session. Okay, back to Himari, I guess. She's cleaning her house because she has to do that now without having a house cleaner. And one of her business people comes over to say that someone snapped a picture of the date that she had with Iamori, which is definitely going to cause shenanigans, I'm sure. I did have fun reading this chapter in its own way, even with the fan service that it didn't really need and I didn't really need, but it won't be rated as low this week. Osoegawa and the heroine are interrogating the mages that they caught for information, but their senpai, the senpai of the mages that were caught last chapter, shows up to bail them out, after giving up where they are from and what they are doing, and their whole goal and everything that they're looking for. Whoops! Anyway, they have a magic fight, and turns out that magic power levels are different for each person. Also, that stupid adults are stupid. Kids rule, adults drool. Man, maybe I'm just that stupid, drooling adult, but I just found all of that really annoying. They kept talking, they're like, man, adults are so stupid. They don't know what they're doing. They're just sending us out here. It doesn't help that everyone looks the same, and they all look like adults because of the art style. Like, you could try to make them look more like kids. They all look like they're the same age. Like, no one looks older. No one looks younger. Again, you could get away with it because Oso Egawa apparently just doesn't age, even though he's like 800 years old. But like everyone looks generically like a older teenager slash adult. They, it's not like they look like kids. So when they're just up here going like, man, adults suck, even though they look exactly the same, I don't know. It's funny. Anyway, big magic fight happens. There's some creative uses of magic. I have to say that because I've been giving this series crap for not being creative, and it's been a little creative, and the action art was not bad at all. It's fine. It's a fine chapter. It just, I just had to skip over all these like, man, adults suck, all those little bubbles. Oh, it just, yeah, it did not come across, I think, how they would have wanted it to come across. Haiji and the manager have to fight their way out, and they are doing just fine. The manager uses bullets that have heightened ricocheting powers, and they take out all of the goons without killing them. Looks like she doesn't kill people either, so I like them both together. Anyway, 2 more higher level goons show up after this. Haiji takes out one of them, but the manager is captured by the other, who was speaking in sign language. Haiji can also speak in sign language, though, which causes the manager to be released. Learning sign language for the win. Another fun chapter. I really enjoy this series. It's a fun read. Kinato arrives at the kingdom's capital city, which feels French in its vibes, I would say, like medieval Renaissance era French. Or maybe it's Baroque, I don't know. There are lots of magicians flying through the sky on paper airplanes, which was an interesting visual and general idea. Lene is a gambling addict and immediately buys lottery tickets upon coming into town before Jean shows them to the guild. It has a false front because the real building is a bit shabby. Honestly, I didn't think it looked that bad. They could have just used the normal building. It was a funny gag. It just, maybe make the building look a little worse. Because I was like, okay, they look the same. Anyway, Jean immediately gets pummeled by the vice captain upon entering the guild. He is giving strong Armstrong from FMA vibes. I was like, yeah, he's Armstrong. A third member of the Iron Fangs also show up, Kaminagi, who is a sexily dressed lady swordsman who is off the market, fellas, because she's into the ladies. And Lene is her gal, and she's willing, and Lene just goes with her and rolls with the punches, and, she's over the top, but she's like, she's on board. Jean decides that Kaminagi will be responsible for determining if Kinato will join the Iron Fangs, and he sends them on their first mission to take out some monsters. They get to the village, and Kinato has to destroy more monsters than Kaminagi, and he plays Ultimate Dodgeball to great effect. This series is really fun. I like the humor in it, and the characters are super over the top, but in opinion, not a bad way. Also, it really helps at how well the reaction shots are done, and just the general, emotive, panels and faces are done for all the characters. Hopefully there are a bit more straight men added to the group to balance out all of the absurdity, because I think that there is the possibility that it could get a little too wacky. All that being said, though, it's a very fun read. I do enjoy reading it. Turns out Mikoshiba is okay. No problems. Stabbed through the chest. Who cares? He wakes up in a convenience store with a little kid who is total sidekick kid material. Short round. He's screaming short round. He gives him the lore dump of how the aliens showed up, killing some, abducting most, for reasons unknown, which gives our main character hope that his family is still alive. Then 3 more aliens show up, and they immediately get whooped because the main character, I guess, just got a big power-up when he was sleeping in the convenience store. I have no idea what this series is. I don't know what it's going for. It's pretty strange, and it's like it's trying to be like super metal and like this really heavy wrestling influence, which again, that in and of itself is fine. I don't dislike it, but it's a really odd read, to say the least. Nowhere close to, I mean, it's 2 chapters in, so I wouldn't be even thinking about dropping a series this early unless it was really bad. But it's nowhere even close to that. I think it's fine. I think it's something different. It's been something different from 1 to 2. So I'm just, we'll see where this kind of thing goes. It's, yeah, bizarre, but not bad. And that is it for this week. Rankings are coming up above my head now. Mangaka throughout the magazine showed up to play this week. Some A+ quality chapters throughout the magazine, which made it really hard for me to even do my rankings this time because it just was all so good. But I love having that sort of problem. More good things to read is always going to be a good thing in my book, and you know what? I'll suck it up. If it's really hard to do, I'll suck it up. That's fine. I have no idea what is going on with Alien Headbutt. It is one funky story, but the other 2 newbies are quite good. They've leapt right up into the top 10 and will probably stick around there quite a bit if they keep going like they have. But it's still early days for both of them, and it's definitely not a guarantee that even series that start off on a good foot, they don't necessarily stay there always. I still remember when Mage Next Door started. I liked it. I thought the first chapter was really, really good, but it fell off pretty fast. So I'm not going to proclaim anything about those 2, but if they keep moving in the direction that they're going, I think that's a good sign. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope to see you again next week. Jumping back in because I just saw the news that the Elusive Samurai has ended. The finale chapter was just this week, and I wasn't aware of that because I hadn't caught up with it yet, but I wanted to take a little bit of the time here just to sort of talk about it and give a little bit of my thoughts. Even though I haven't caught back up, I have been catching back up. So I'm going to do a brief eulogy for the Elusive Samurai now. I dropped this series when it was initially coming out. I think I dropped it around chapter 13-ish. At the time, I had not been doing this review series, so I was just kind of reading for pleasure and doing my own thing. And as I was getting into reading more series, because at the time, I really didn't read that much manga. I far less manga than I do now, so I was a lot more judicious with what I was reading. And at the time, things like JJK was still running, things like My Hero Academia were still running. One Piece obviously was still running. So there were lots of series that I was reading, and I was just getting into some other things. And at the time when Elusive Samurai was starting, I felt that it was just like really weird. I didn't think it was like bad, but there was definitely like a weirdness to it. Which at the time I just wasn't really vibing with it. So rather than continue on, and since I didn't really have any reason to keep going on, I dropped it. And looking back on it now, I think that was definitely the wrong decision. I think that there's a lot of merits to it, and as I've been rereading it, I have been enjoying the reread. I was really hoping that I was going to be able to catch up to the series before it ended, but I didn't make it. didn't get close, but I did read enough to know that it was a very good series, and for not knowing anything about it and for not getting to the point where I was close enough to know what was going on, to me it feels like that series was probably a series that ended on its own terms. It ended because the story that it was telling was over. Could be wrong about that. I think I will still try to catch back up and read it all, just because I think that it warrants it, but I don't think I'm going to do it in the same sort of, intense manner that I had been doing it previously. Plus, it just, even though I do enjoy it more than I initially had thought that I would, it's not at a high enough level where I'm like, I have to read it. There have been some series that I've started reading and I just devoured it. Things like Witch Hat Atelier, which I won't talk about because it's not really in the Shonen Jump universe. That was a series that when I picked it up and I was reading from chapter 1, I had to read everything that was available. Like, I consumed it like a crazed animal. And that is not what the Elusive Samurai gives me. It still has that weirdness to it, but I kind of like it now. Like, it kind of, I like the quirkiness. I like the vibe now, but yeah, it's a series that has been running for a very long time. It came out right around when Blue Box started. They have a similar number of chapters, and I remember that they started around the same time. And I think that it is a big feather in the cap of the Shonen Jump guys, the editors, the editing team, that they were able to find two really, really good series really close together. Everybody knows that Shonen Jump can be a bit of a meat grinder. Series can kind of come and go. But the fact that you had two series, the Elusive Samurai and Blue Box, that came one after the other, but ran for such a long time and were clearly very successful, is... I think that's a great win. So, for somebody who's barely knowledgeable of the Elusive Samurai, it seemed like it was a very good series. I'm going to catch up with it, and we'll see if I do a further review of it. I typically have been keeping that for series that I either really enjoy or really don't like, and Elusive Samurai falls in neither of those. But anyway, I just wanted to jump in really quick and do this little video just because I saw that was something that happened. And maybe this is what Alien Headbutt was replacing, which, again, I've talked about this before. I don't do direct comparisons of like, oh, you got rid of this to start this. Interesting choice. Anyway, thanks again for watching.